There you are. You're feeling extremely tired, but then you unlock a side of yourself that you thought you never had, and you just got so much energy. Are you tired after a long day? Do you feel just so exhausted that all you kind of want to do is just simply get home, like eat, relax, play video games, watch anime, watch a movie, watch a TV series, something like that, because you just feel that there's nothing else you can do when you're just done? Well, that's the thing. That's how I used to be. But as soon as I kind of did something, which I'll explain in this video, I was able to set up and realize a sense of empowerment that I thought I didn't have. Because so the thing is, for a lot of my life, I'd get home, I do, homework and whatnot for school, but then I'd like kind of not really be super productive in the evening. I'd like play video games, watch anime, watch TV movies. And this happened for like a long time, even when I was in like university. I kind of struggled with the extra motivation of trying to do something. And then when I started working full time, a 9 to 5 job, it just seemed even like really harder to do or go beyond. And that's kind of where I discovered something, and I want to share it with you in this video. So again, what happened was when I started working 9 to 5, I moved out and lived by myself, right? To challenge myself and whatnot. But I'd find that working a 9 to 5 job and then getting home, I just feel like so tired. All I could do is cook, clean, and then simply relax and watch anime or just TV or a movie, and I just thought my brain couldn't do anything. And that was kind of it for a while. But here's the thing. I kind of began to tinker with something, and I call it round two. I call it being able to just tap into something that you didn't know was there and just feel so much better and more productive about your night. And see, the thing is, this kind of led me to finalize a book I said I was always going to finish writing. It led me to starting this YouTube channel. It resulted in me figuring out how to create a website, domain, get better at marketing materials. It allowed me to really push myself and like tap into that next level. But in order to do all this and set up, I had to kind of think step by step as to what a routine would look like and kind of how I was able to achieve that. And this is only something I've recently done, so it doesn't take a whole lot of time to get into this. But kind of if you listen along with what I'm about to explain, you'll be able to see how easy it is to implement. And like, it's really just a couple of simple steps, right? To get this and awaken something in yourself. And see, the best thing about this is that you end up after this session feeling like your just brain is just so exhausted, like a mind workout, that you just fall asleep so much more peacefully, and you just have that sense of pride in you. Okay, so step one, I call this the fueling. So the thing is, when you get home from work and you don't have anything prepared food wise, you kind of think, oh, what am I going to eat? And if you have to cook something, that can take some time. But you also might be more tempted to get takeout, or something unhealthy because it's an easier option, right? See, that's the thing. We need to understand that your brain needs really good fuel source, and that you are someone intelligent, and you need to, like an athlete, prepare yourself for this round two. So what I mean by this is, what I would recommend and what I have done is that I would say you meal prep your dinners for the week. So working week is five days, right? So you meal prep a dinner that you can effectively know what's in it. It's really healthy. You've planned it on the weekend, and you just simply like heat it up and then eat. See, for example, you might say, well, okay, Sal, I eat a lot of food. Okay, that's a valid point, fair enough. But what I would say to that is the following. If, like, for example, with meal prep a meal, I would say, for example, you could do a curry or something, right? You can separate that into 5 separate glass containers as a portion. And then what you do is, that night when you get home, as soon as you get home, you get a little rice cooker, well not little, but big rice cooker, and then you put your rice into the cooker and start cooking it. So you get fresh rice, and then you simply have to heat up your curry and then boom, put on top, done. Like that is just gonna save us so much time and so much thinking. Because the thing is, when we work a 9 to 5 job, we want to leverage as much time as possible to be in this round 2 state so that we get better sleep and everything just gets more optimized. So the night kind of doesn't get away from us. So this is kind of like almost like the whole idea of meal prepping is almost like the step 0 to this step, but the first step is the correct fueling. Because see, the thing is, when you get home from work, like I ride a bike, so I commute and I'm hungry, but I imagine a lot of you, when you get home from work or a long day of school, you're probably hungry, right? So you need to eat something. You can't just kind of go into, doing something else like really, really crazy, because you kind of need a bit of energy, right? So that's kind of what we're setting up. So that's the first step, fueling, right? So then kind of as that's doing its thing, you clean up quickly, and then what you do is you refresh. I call this step 2. So for me, I have a shower and I do like somewhat of a night routine. I brush my teeth, I'll do my skincare, and this kind of helps me feel rejuvenated, which is key, because if I was to go from eating to coming up and like doing some work, I'd feel kind of icky, because like I was in my cycling clothes, I sweated, I kind of feel like I'm just still hanging around in my clothes. Whereas to put something new on or something fresh for the purposes of what we're doing just helps you put that in that state of mind. It's kind of like in the morning, if you were to say ride to work, or you get up in the morning, you have a shower, you have a routine, you kind of get primed for what you're about to do. Well, this is the same thing, but on the night side, like, of the equation. So this kind of, and during this time of setting up the refreshing, it helps to give a little bit more time for your body to digest the food, so that fuel's ready for you and you don't feel as gluggy getting into it. So that's kind of the second step, refreshing. So you've got fueling, refreshing, and then for the third step this is kind of a step that's done before, but it's still important because it makes the bridge between, if we didn't have it, it just would, from the refresh to the work, it just makes it that little bit more easier. Let me explain, because to get into this for the first time or first couple of times is going to be the most difficult. So I call this the setup. So for this step 3, the setup, to get into round 2, what you need to do is you need to have an area in which you are doing really good work. You're doing really productive stuff, and you're, giving you that space and that time and respect to be like, yeah, this is where I'm going to contribute and add value, right? So for me, I've got a spare room that is basically like my work from home setup, or it's got a table, computer, monitor, and my laptop. And this is the room we're filming in now. It helps me to know, okay, when I'm in here, it's business, right? But another equation to that is having the room itself actually clean. So, vacuum, make sure stuff's off the floor. And then that way, when you're in here, it doesn't feel cluttered. Because the thing is, when we're doing this hard task, we want the room to be set up in a way that will allow you to have that deep thinking without, lapse in concentration. And when you do have a clean area, you just feel so much more better and proud of yourself. So what you could do is, and another little bonus tip, when your rice is cooking, I would say you could vacuum this area or clean it up. And then also, because what I do is I have my laptop and then my monitor I do my main work on. I have on the laptop some video game music in which that's kind of playing in the background to kind of help me get into that zone and feel like I can do that hard work and feel more inspired to, stay in that. And that also acts as also a little timer, because I know, okay, the video is an hour, 2 hours long. That's how long my session is for the day, I'm in the night. And then I guess a bonus tip on that is when listening to, say, video channels on YouTube, right? try to pick ones that only have an ad at the beginning of the video. That way, when we're in your flow, we're not getting interrupted every 8 to 10 minutes, which can be really annoying if you're just trying to really break through and overcome something and there's just like an annoying ad for Deliveroo or Uber Eats or something like that, or Menulog. It's kind of like really difficult to concentrate. So I would recommend that for step 3, you have a space that actually is going to be where you're going to do the work, and have it set up while I guess the food's cooking or earlier in the day, such that when you come into this room, okay, for example, like my note page is up, or when I had the ebook web page was already up, and then the music was already here. All I had to do was hit play and then turn my keyboard and mouse on and hit type. Like, it was so much more easier. And on days where it feels harder at the start, you need to remove these little barriers, because these little opportunities will kind of, where your mind will try to attack you and say, no, we don't need to do that work today because we have to get it set up, the room's not clean, or come up with all these rubbish excuses. And by doing so, you are basically already dispelling any of that crap to effectively really delve into what you need to do, which is now step 4, round 2, enter the flow. So this one is where the magic happens. This is where you feel so inspired. This is where, if you've listened along to my videos, you know I talk about conquering the mountain, conquer life. This is that opportunity mentally to come into the zone and conquer the mountain, and then conquer your life, right? So what's the whole point of this, and where is it? Okay, so I guess the most important thing for this is you need something that you have identified as that's important and a passion project to you, something that's like your purpose. Now, in another video, I've kind of explained how, if you're feeling lost, how to figure out what that drive is and something that you want to contribute towards. So then basically what you have to do is you have to find something that you really like to do, it's challenging, and you know it's going to have a benefit, and that something you can stick to long term and it's easy. See, for me, what it initially was actually finishing the ebook, which took some time, right? And editing it over and over again does get annoying, and then adding extra sections to make it more awesome, and then also the marketing and the website. That was kind of what I saw. And then beyond that, because I've got a product, it's not going to absolutely, magically be purchased by everyone. I kind of have to break down why it's important and effectively start making content. But also I wanted to make content to go beyond being a cyclist and kind of explore other areas of life I'm interested in, like running, self-development, like strength conditioning, my accolades or what I'm challenges are at work, so many more other aspects or books I've read and find interesting, stuff that I can share or reflect on from my childhood that can kind of help inspire you and make you feel that you're not alone and that you actually can do it. So that kind of made it a lot easier for me. So what would happen is, after I'd finished the book, making content and coming up with videos and scripting became a core part of what I resonated with as a purpose. See, the thing is, your purpose will shift, but the main thing is having that is important. I could have easily said after the ebook, oh, that's it, I don't want to do anything else, I'll just go back to playing video games. But the thing is, once you start accomplishing something like this, if you're delaying that gratification, you don't want to stop. You want to figure out the next thing that you can develop so much time and investment in. And maybe this was because I liked, the video game music playing in the background. It was just such a cool, cozy vibe. I wanted to keep going and create something else and just really try to share that value. So that's, I guess, the zone, right? Now, I've kind of talked about how to get it, but now I kind of want to get into doing it for the first time and how that's going to go. See, the thing is, if you haven't done this before, it is probably going to be difficult. And as much as we can set up and prepare and you can follow these steps, it will still be difficult. So probably for your first session, what I would recommend is that we try to go for 30 minutes, maybe 30 to 45 minutes, where you just focus, right? So like I said, you can play some meditation music, you can play some video game music that's, no lyrics, just simply really good, focus type of music, Final Fantasy series, Persona, stuff, Skyrim, Assassin's Creed 2, so many soundtracks that you can probably, Halo soundtrack, that kind of inspire you and make you want to get in that zone and, you know, get in the flow. And then that way, at the end of that video, 30 or 45 minutes, you'll know that when the music stops, that's your session for the night, right? And you might find this really hard, but that's okay. But eventually, by doing it, I think the first time is probably the hardest, and then also the second time, because you're kind of not used to that feeling of satisfaction from doing the work. So it can be difficult. It can be like the momentum. You got to get that momentum started by conquering the mountain, right? So in that case, we just need to start and set realistic times. And then as you keep going, you might find that you'll be able to do an hour without really trying that much. And then maybe 90 minutes, and then eventually maybe say 2 hours. See, the thing is, for me, when I'm doing this, like assuming that like I've got pretty good repetition with it, in terms of going every single, you know, working day, it generally becomes pretty easy to do between 90 and 2 hours. And to know when you're coming out of this zone or when you're kind of capped off for the night is you'll start wanting to look at the time, and you'll kind of find it harder to concentrate. That's when you're more or less coming out of your zone. And so that's kind of why we don't want to push ourselves and, you know, work for 3-4 hours a night, because if you do that, it's probably not going to be very meaningful and your sleep's going to get affected. But rather, what we're trying to do is to squeeze the best juice out of our brain when we can, like a timer, to just really achieve lots and lots and lots, which is the whole point of this. Because then at the end of that, this incredible feeling and sense of just calm will wash over you. And of course, you'll get energy by doing this, like I said, round 2 activity. You almost won't want to stop, but eventually, like I said, you'll feel just very satisfied with what you've achieved, right? So in this situation, what do we do after round 2? We get ready for bed. Now, if I was to, like, this is great that you've done this, but it doesn't mean you can say, go and watch anime all night, go play video games. The point of this is meant to replace that bad habit, but then also the point of this is to help you sleep or get ready to transition to sleep, because you've kind of exhausted your brain. So what I would recommend in this situation is, what you can do is you can, you know, speak to your loved ones, your family, give them a call, have that gratitude. You can also get a journal out and journal your thoughts. You can read. Reading's fantastic. What I like to do is sometimes I lie on my floor in my room and I listen to some really relaxing video game music, like an eye mask on, and that helps me to kind of really relax. I'll do a meditation. All these things will help you to slow down, because what we need to understand is, to do this again and again, we need really good restful sleep, and that will just really help us recharge for the next day to have an even more productive session. Because that's kind of like what we're trying to get at. We're trying to build this consistency, and by having it such that you reward yourself with a really good sleep, you know, between like 8:30 and 9 p.m, like that's the point. And you'll kind of realize that the ideas of wanting to watch TV, anime, video games, movies starts to subside, because you're working towards something even bigger, and you're not kind of distracting yourself. You understand now what's important. And in that downtime, the relaxation is the time for extra reflection and writing stuff down and sharing, internalizing about your day. So you're building that self-awareness to just have much better thought, flow, consistency. You're able to just see things so much clearer, right? And look, it will be difficult for the first couple times, but I know that you can do it. And the thing is, you will feel infinitely more satisfied than if you were to say, just watch anime all night and then just go to bed, right? That's kind of where I feel, you know, that I don't want to go back, and I'm really proud of these steps that I've put in place and this whole methodology to just make it more consistent for me to kind of get into this. I mean, some days it's hard, but by doing these steps, it really helps to remind me, no, this is what's important and that you can do it, because there'll be some days where it's really hard. Now, I know I've waffled on a bit, but I just really wanted to share and inspire you, because you can do it and set up how to conquer the mountain and conquer life at night with this, newfound energy and sense of extra time to do things. And this will eventually lead into, say, on the weekends or when you've got some free time, being able to focus even more during and do even longer work sessions, right? When you've got even more free time. Or perhaps when you're at work or you're at school, you're just really able to focus more. So this is really an opportunity to, much like go to the gym for your body, go to the gym for your mind, right? So thank you so much for watching this. I think you should subscribe and we'll cover more content like this, and perhaps share if you've tried this or got a similar idea of trying this, and let me know how that goes. But then of course, if you're kind of at the point where you'd love to do this, but you're not exactly sure what the step 4, the round 2, the purpose is, of course, I'm more than happy to help. And what we can do is we can work one-on-one to figure out what that is and kind of develop a sense of some things to work towards, like long-term and shorter term, to feel that flow and just feel amazing and kind of build that momentum. And of course, you can watch my other video in terms of where I talk about feeling lost and how to figure out that purpose for yourself. But if you'd like something more one-on-one, quicker, you'd like the idea of the accountability, you like the idea of taking action, then of course, like I said, you pick the time. You ask me some questions, I answer them ahead of time, and that kind of just leads to us having a really productive 60-minute session, right? And then what else I have is simply life cycles, where, as I've talked about the ebook, I've crystallized everything from commuting to work over the last 6 years and using commuting as a sense of training to just have amazing fitness, to lose weight, to just have that consistency and just joy and zest for life while saving money on transportation. Of course, if you click the link below, that will also be available to see that. And if you want to kind of change your life in that way and start riding to work to save time, so perhaps you can get home earlier and then you can have more time for your round 2, for example, to conquer that mountain and conquer life. Being on the bike allows you to think openly or differently about challenges or things that you're trying to overcome, right? So really thank you for listening along to this video, right? Like I said, subscribe for more. And with this, you will now have almost a path for conquering the mountain that first time mentally, and then kind of what that means to conquer that mountain again and again and again. So conquer mountains, conquer life. Thank you.